If you're a Michigan fan, buckle up. It's going to be a long season. If you're a Texas fan, son, we're more bagger than back. All right, Texas fandom, Texas Glaze, and Matthew McConaughey Glaze aside, let's actually get into the recap of this game. Now, this is very important because these are two teams that are going to be a bit of a litmus test for each other, right? Texas going to the semifinals, right? Wolverines clearly being the reigning national championship. So there's a lot of question marks when it comes to these teams. Texas sent, I believe, 11 players to the draft, while the Michigan Wolverines sent 13 in this previous draft. So both of these teams have relatively lost a lot of talented players, a lot of marquee players, of course. Most importantly, for the Texas side, some receivers as well as the interior defensive line. And to give you a little spoiler alert into this thing, I think we figured it out, son. I think we're know what it is and how to get that done. On the Michigan side, it does seem like there are a lot more question marks, but Will Johnson is still a bit of a dog. Continuing on and continuing forward, the real true story of this was a team that was a lot more mature, and not to say that Michigan isn't mature, but Michigan is just, again, the things that they lost, right, were a lot more, I think, harder to replace in a lot of different scenarios. As with Texas, the full offensive lineman, except for our right tackle, all have been starting, all had, I think, a combined 100 and something snaps, 100 and something starts altogether. So it was a lot of continuity, if that's how they would say it. I don't know. I don't get paid enough to know those big words, but it was good to see that the movement up front it was consistent, and that's just, if you're going to allow us to do that all game, it's going to be a bad day. But it's not as simple as just, okay, offensive line dominating the defensive line. It was large in part, and in fact, due to what Sark was doing. So Steve Sarkisian had some things drawn up, boy. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he executed it to the T. Anytime Will Graham or those big bad dogs, those big dogs for Michigan, the people that they are returning, the very talented defensive tackles in the interior, anytime they were on the field, we were attacking the edges of the field. Anytime we could get them out, all right, we're going tempo, and we're coming right at you, gashing you with Gibson and making sure that we can execute when we did. And I just felt like from the offensive side of the ball that we were just executing at a very high clip. We saw some of the red zone issues and red zone struggles that Texas saw last year too, so I wasn't happy as a Texas fan to see that. Again, I consider Michigan to be more of a mediocre team, not a team that deserved to be a top 10 team, but I do respect their defense. So we need to be able to handle a top tier. It's the Big Ten, dog. We need to be able to handle a Big Ten defense if we think we're going to be able to go ahead and handle these SEC defenses. Now, from what's been said, Michigan is going to be the best defensive line that Texas plays. If that is true, it's going to be a long day for everybody else on Texas's schedule. Going to Michigan and finishing up my Glaze as a fan, it's really not all that bad. I think home skill at the biscuit, number 16. First off, the kid has a great story. I can't believe I forgot his name. It's right here. Davis Warren. Kid has a great story about leukemia in high school. Only got to play 7 games combined within his last 2 games. Last 2 years being a junior and senior in high school due to the panoramic roof. I can't say that word because of YouTube, but in doing so, he's had to kind of overcome a lot of things. And something that he's apparently overcome is getting the starting position because they do not trust Alex Orji in the same way they did. And we're gonna get into some of the play calling there because I thought it was pretty abysmal. I think Alex Orji is clearly a guy with a multitude of skill sets, and the way that they use him was awful. But staying on Davis Warren, again, great story, all that thing. And we kind of saw him, and we kind of see him getting some of that, I don't want to say rust, but getting it's getting valuable experience. That's really what it is. I don't want to be too hard on Davis Warren because when tasked, he was doing some good things with that football. So I think in the same way that J.J. McCarthy had to start kind of develop and get better and get better and get better and get better in situational ways, I think Davis Warren has a way to do that. I mean, we're looking at the stats right now. 22 for 33, 204, 6.2. Obviously, you don't want to throw 2 interceptions, but for a guy this is his first time even knowing and an inkling of taking the reins to this offense and getting two games underneath his belt, I don't want to be entirely mad at him. I'm not entirely down on him. I think he's got a bright future, especially when you saw that garbage time. We'll say garbage time, but we left our stars out there. Garbage time coming into the fourth quarter. The only reason why they got that other touchdown in the fourth. But again, he was asked to do things with his arm, and he did do those things with his arm. And that leads me back to the play calling. And I'm going to start with Alex Orji, and I think that we're going to kind of backtrack and get to Davis Warren. When we looked at Alex Orji, dog, everybody in the stadium knew what was happening as soon as he got on the field. And it was great. As a Texas fan, I was like, that's phenomenal. But as a Michigan fan and as someone who's watching the game, where's the creativity? What are we doing? Y'all, I felt like every single time Alex Orji, if you wanted to simplify, because I get it. Look, let's simplify when he comes in. Let's not let him make any mistakes. I'm not as familiar with him, so I don't know if maybe if you give him the ball too much, he's just going to throw the ball and things are going to start bouncing up and down. I don't know how bad it could be because that's how they're handling him. They're handling him like they cannot trust him to take a drop back whatsoever. They're handling him like he cannot be a dynamic quarterback. He is just another runner that helps the numbers when it comes to third and short, fourth and short. And when you do that and make it that obvious, you make defenses not honor anything you're doing. And I thought maybe as a gameplay wise, that's what they wanted to do at first. Okay, let's get them going, running wise. And then what we're going to do is on a 3rd and 1, we're going to hit you and let Alex Orji throw a quick RPO. That never happened. Especially when we got to, I forgot there was some specific 4th or 3rd and 1. You had Donovan Edwards in the backfield. You have your sniffer up here in this in this kind of heavy-ish look. And then you motion Donovan Edwards out into the boundary where now it's just Alex Orji. What do you think y'all think he's going to throw that? You think anybody in the stadium thinks that when you motion a wide receiver out of the backfield into the boundary with no space, with a quarterback who we know cannot throw the ball, y'all have never given him a chance to throw the ball, and now it's a short yard situation with a sniffer and a heavy offensive line? Dog, you might as well reverse Connor Stallions it, man. And I know we want to talk about that. We can get into that. And I think that's hilarious. But they were definitely reverse Connor Stallion with Alex Orji because there was no sort of creativity when it came to the play calling there. And now that we say that, I can get back to Davis Warren. In that same way, I feel like they weren't really calling to task for David Warren to really stretch the field in big ways until it got to desperation mode, right? It seemed like this Michigan team wanted to play the Michigan type of football that they played last year, right? We're going to beat you up. We're going to wear you down. We're going to rely on our running game and running backs to just kind of wear you down. You're not going to be able to keep up. But when it gets to the second quarter and you let Texas put up 17 in the second and you have no real response to it except for one explosive drive that resulted in a field goal, y'all had the flea flickers and different things like that. So it's so interesting to me that we're starting to see that, hey, maybe Davis can spin it a little bit. I'm not saying he's an elite quarterback. I'm not saying that I loved everything I saw from him, but I'm also saying that he's a walk-on. Was he a walk-on or something? Regardless, this is his first year even getting any starting reps, and a lot of people didn't even expect him to be starting. A lot of Michigan fans, I don't think, correct me in the comments, I don't think a lot of Michigan fans expected him to be starting. So just not too much on Davis Warren. I think there needs to be a lot to say about this offensive play calling because the defense was pretty mighty. I think they were giving us some fits when it got into the red zone. I think there were some things going on, but again, we have one of the best not us. You're not on the team, buddy. Texas has one of the best offensive lines in the country. So getting bullied in that regard is good. Number 1 for Michigan on the defensive side. That dude was a dog. Blew a lot of coverages as well, do some things, but he was clearly tasked to do a lot. Him and number 10, that nickelback who seemed to be just in the box at all times and really around making plays. So Michigan is, I don't want it to be sit here and say, oh my God, Michigan is just terrible. They are a mediocre Big Ten team. They're not a top 10 team in the nation. They've got a great defense and offense that needs to just figure it out. I think they've got talent there and they can utilize it. But yeah, man, I think in all, to end it off, I want to kind of give back to the Texas Glaze. If we could round some things off that I loved to see from the Longhorns. I think the biggest thing as a Texas fan is seeing Quinn Ewers' growth. He's always been a talented arm. I don't think there's a lot that he can gain when it comes to arm talent. Maybe arm power, maybe pure power and being able to push the ball a little further down the field. But when it comes to arm talent and making throws and side arms and putting in places and spaces, I mean, that opening third quarter throw, opening third down throw that Isaiah Bond just literally put it in his outside shoulder like he was ready to keep going between two defenders. I mean, that's something that's kind of routine, and he pulls the throw out like that, I think, in almost every big game. He's due for 1 or 2 or 3 of those. But another thing that he was due for, which I didn't see as much, and we saw it peeking through, but he kind of cleaned it up. It was just sometimes Quinn gets like erratic, and a big thing. And I was happy that I think Gus Johnson pointed it out how important that third down throw was. The fact that it was good, the fact that it settled him down, is that you can go back to Red River rivalry games. He opens up like a wild man. I don't know if it's jitters or what, but that first drive, we got to calm him down. It needs to be, he needs to make decisive throws and get some completions. If not, it can start spiraling. Again, look at that one Red River rivalry game, and it can get real nasty. Now, luckily, what we saw is him in the offense be put into some precarious situation, right? We had some times where we got all the way down to the red zone, especially the opening drive, and only had to settle for nothing because we couldn't get a field goal through. So the fact that he was able to keep people calm, he was able to keep people focused, and he was able to keep the team really putting their foot on the gas and understanding that, hey, we are a team that deserves to be up big on this quote-unquote what's called defending champion. So you go in A-trap, you take the A-trap, phenomenal stuff. I love the poise as well. I love the decision-making every single year. That's what I can consistently see his growth with. It's just the decision-making is immediate. It's immediate. He's a guy that wants to win football games, not just put the ball down on the field, and I think that's going to be a great thing for him going into the future. One last thing, we're going to take a peek at these box scores, and then we're going to get into some memes, son. Obviously, people be tweeting. Matt be great, be having a good time, so we're going to check it out. And in the real tale to tell here, coming from the defensive side, a lot of shared tackles here. David Gabenda doing great things. Anthony Hill doing great things. Where's this at? Andrew Mukaba, that is the Clemson, transfer to Texas. He made an immediate impact. I feel like our secondary has always been the most lacking thing in these last decade, I would say. So the fact that we have a guy that he's just a playmaker. That's what we need. I don't think we need have everyone needs to be elite in every one request, because we've got some dogs up front. But if we can just get someone who can come up in the box sometimes, who can make a play on the ball sometimes, I think that's going to mean a lot, and it's going to actually make this team a really and true college football playoff team. Look, man, I just want to beat the Sooners. I want to beat A&M. And I want an SEC championship. Can we come in to the SEC first year and take y'all championship, pretty please? I don't know, dog. So let's talk about it. Let's get into these memes here. So first things first. Seems that some Michigan fans were making some excuses. We're going to get into some Michigan fan excuses, and then kind of go from there, dog. Here it is. Look at this gentleman. That guy's transferring. I don't think we're starting here. Okay, cool. Boom. We're starting here. Shout out Big Bevo. You know what he do. Shout out Quinn. 203 of them things, 2 of them things in the first half. Elite start for us. It was some good stuff to see. I would take a peek at this. First of all, the best all white. This is not me being cocky. This is not being weird. We have the best all white uniform in all of college football. Y'all can fight a wall. Y'all can debate a Bevo. It's not a conversation. Y'all can talk about second. Sure. Have fun with that. But Texas is the best all-white uniform. Michigan lost top 10 NFL draft pick at quarterback. I'm not going to say too much about my man McCarthy. Top 6 offensive lineman, best running back in school history, best head coach in school history, 10 starters on offense. That's a lot, huh? Best head coach ever, really. 10 starters on offense, 7 starters on defense. Wait, 17? I thought it was 13. Half their coaching staff. Oh, transfers. And they lost a bunch of people. I mean, hey, man. I'm loving I'm loving the excuses, because they're piling in and they're piling on in a fast way. Davis Warren trying to read a defense. He seemed to be having a bad time. Like I said, I can kind of see why they didn't want to push the ball too much down the field because it wasn't as successful. But again, the reason why I say that I think they should have just stuck with it is because when you got to it, when he felt like he had nothing to lose, he was slinging it. I think he's clearly a guy that is talented, but it's got to be put in a better position. This is the most like this is crazy, dog. You like y'all just gonna leave on y'all just won a national championship. And this is why I'm happy that Michigan fans get to have this awful, terrible night because they are the worst people. I'm sorry, Michigan fans. I will say that most Michigan fans, especially after this one, I don't know, something about this win has made them less like annoying. So I will give Michigan fans that credit. Besides this one right here, this is the most annoying person to ever breathe. So him having a bad day is only good for the rest of the world. I'm happy for it. Shout out to you Michigan fans, man. And just to recap a few more wins, I think we had a few more funny things. You feel me? We had a few more funny things. Robert Griffith III, always a man of, awful takes. And we also, planted the flag. You feel me? Steve Sarkisian has built the Texas team into a monster who will come into your house and raid your refrigerator. They are built for long-term success, too. And that is the biggest and baddest and greatest thing that I think we need to point out here is more fans leaving. Steve Sarkisian in his fourth year at Texas, thank God that Texas allowed him to get a full 4 years. He's got his full recruiting classes. He's got some great transfers from Alabama. I mean, kind of stole people from Alabama, but we're not going to get into that. What we will get into is that the offensive guru got to show against what should be known as an elite defense in all of college football. We carved it up. Quinn Ewers looked great. I wish I got to see some Arch Manning, but hey, you do what we can do. We answered the question when it comes to running back. Jaden Blue's a guy. Gibson's a guy. We got guys. We got plenty of guys, so we're going to keep cycling them through, and hopefully that we can do what needs to be done to get deep in these playoffs. But y'all be amazing. Y'all be phenomenal. Get in the comments and tell me Michigan, what do you think their schedule, how they're going to finish out their record, and tell me Texas. How are we going to finish? We're going to be in the playoffs? SEC champions? Let me know in the comments, man. Appreciate you checking this out, man. You leave like this video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it. See you. Peace.